Yes. Rasco and Disco beer review with me, and Disco, coming at you live from the Disco Arms here in front of the cans and bottles. As I am still calling it, I forgot to do my intro there. Does anybody notice? I always do a different intro of an adjective for the Disco Arms. No matter, just these things amuse me, which is much like this stream. Really, welcome along. To anybody watching and to anybody who's watching after the event. Hey, the main man, David Wilson, greetings and greetings. A little early for the photograph, but I'll tell you what's not too early. I'm going to go straight out with this one and get the first beer into a glass. If you've seen the thumbnail, you might have seen what beers I've got. In fact, I thought I'd just line them up here today and get this first one out into the glass because I'm fair thirsty. It's been a good old day. I was at the brewery packaging beer. As tiring as that ever needs to be fair, but there we go. Get this first beer out into the glass early doors. As you can see, it is a 4.7% rhubarb and custard. And as you probably tell beer fans, it is a Vault City beer, so we know it's going to be a sour beer. The question is, how much? Start off with what a beautiful, beautiful colour. It looks red actually on the screen, and as David Wilson has just reminded me, since it's there and looking good with that big bubbly head, I'm going to dive straight in with the photograph. Bear with me a second. I was going to say talk amongst yourselves, but I think it's just David Wilson in at the moment. So bear with me a second, David. Thank you very much indeed for joining, and anybody who's watching after the event. Let me know there in the comments if you could, David, for now, or anybody else, put a little poll up on YouTube because I'm working off a StreamYard. I can't actually see it because I can't see the YouTube. So do let me know if you can see the poll. What's everybody's favourite UK supermarket? And I'm kind of thinking for craft beer here, because that's kind of what I'm looking at tonight. But just generally, where's your favourite supermarket to shop in? In the UK, I can only put 4 up on the poll, so I can't actually see it. I've got to go back into that tab. So I'll do that a little bit later, but yeah, just for fun. There's no right, there's no wrong answers particularly. I haven't put Aldi and what's the other one, Lidl up there because there wasn't space on the poll. You can only put 4 on the poll, and obviously there's more than that. I'm not expecting Waitrose to do particularly high. Excellent, you can see it. Thank you very much, David. Good stuff. Yeah, so I wouldn't. Oh no, we'll come back to the poll afterwards and we'll have a little talk about maybe supermarket beers. So yeah, Waitrose Wednesdays. Why Waitrose, I hear you ask? Well, why not? To be honest, it's a Wednesday. In fact, I was in there yesterday. I don't really shop in Waitrose that much. Does anyone? I don't know. There's always loads of people in there. But for me, I always find it really expensive for food and stuff. But, well, there we go. As if by magic, exactly the same. I saw that pop up. Yeah, Waitrose is all right, but can be pricey. Mostly on the food. As well, you probably know, regular watchers will know. I like a little bit of yellow sticker discount. Tesco's is the best for that, I think, followed probably by Sainsbury's. Morrison's is not too bad. But I like on my food some short-dated stuff. As you've seen, I like some of that on the beer as well. Did a whole video on Waitrose yellow stickered reduced price beer. Still decent beer, still very drinkable. Talking of which, let's dive straight in with the review. Oh, yes, very good. Big custardy nose on there. Touch of fruitiness from the rhubarb. A little bit of vanilla. Actually, there is a little bit of vanilla going on. It's more custard than actual vanilla. I always say I don't get vanilla as an aroma or a flavour, but that's a big custardy kind of note going on. Tell you what, it's a bit like that Turning Point beer the other day, the Custard Sessions beer, but this one is rhubarb. There's definitely a bit more tang to the fruit note. I'm going to take a big gulp of this. This feels like it's going to be absolutely superb. Cheers all, and happy damn Wednesday to everybody. Ooh. Oh, yes. I should have split the tea, shouldn't I? That was too nice. That was too nice. Yeah. Do you know what I'd imagine? You shouldn't imagine. Well, it's difficult not to, though. Imagining what a beer is going to be. But I had this imagination that it was going to be a bit like, every time I hear rhubarb and custard, one of my favourite ciders is a fruit cider, rhubarb and custard from Snail's Bank. And that's kind of where it's going, this beer, but much more sour, not too sour. It's not a massive Vault City sour. It's massive Vault City voluptuousness note. That Snail's Bank, I always say, reminds me of my dear old nan. She rest in peace, and cooking the old fruit crumble and custard on a Sunday. Get down the bottom of the bowl, there was loads of fruit after the event sitting in a bowl, nice and sweet. From the crumble, and that's kind of where that beer is going for me, that nice sweet but sharp tangy rhubarb juice down the bottom of the bowl, especially after the event. If you put the leftover custard in it, what's leftover custard, man? There's never any leftover custard. But yeah, there's some nice tangy sour notes bouncing off that sweet custard. Also helped by the aroma. There's a big fruit. Oh, I nearly said fruit bouquet going. What am I, a wine critic? Behave yourself, Disco. Yeah, so there's a big fruit note going off on that. Really nice. I'm not taking a big gulp. Look at the lacing on that. Superb. I thought I was going to like it. I've always said I'm not massive on sours, but when they get it right, not humongously sour, but balanced out by the sweetness. Managed to get the magnifying glass out in good time this week. Yeah, plenty of oats in that. Looks good. Obviously, lactose, vanilla, and all the usuals. Brewing card in Edinburgh. Not much else on the. Oh, here we go. Rhubarb and custard. It's no mix-up that these flavours found themselves together. Imagine your favourite childhood sweet crossed with the classic dessert. Rhubarb and custard is a full-bodied dessert sour where the tang of rhubarb sits beautifully against creamy vanilla custard notes. Modern sour beer. I didn't read that beforehand, but that's pretty much. That's pretty much what I said, really, those tart notes. Yeah, definite. Well, it's a mixture between the tartness of the rhubarb and, I suppose, a kettle sour. But they claim there's rhubarb in it, so there's no, like, artificial stuff going on. So it says rhubarb. Oh, there's a bit of fruit there as well, yeah. It kind of comes in waves. There's a big sour note that's enveloped by a big fruit note, that's enveloped by a vanilla custard note, and it all kind of rolls around again. I'm not a big fan of rhubarb generally. Rhubarb crumble, like I say, as memories of childhood and that. And I foresee rhubarb and custard in a bit. Which you do kind of see a fair amount. They're kind of fairly easy bedfellows, aren't they? Lactose and vanilla to simulate custard, along with any kind of tart fruit to go with it. Bang up the oats, maybe a little bit of nuttiness, and you've got a crumble as well. First beer is going to go down so nice, so easy. Yeah, so Waitrose, I think they maybe in a way, they're a little bit kind of dark horses, a little bit under kind of certainly underrepresented. They're kind of, do you know what I mean? Hit under the radar. They're never really mentioned when beer reviewers talk about supermarket beers, and I try not to talk about supermarket beers if I can. But I thought, I was in Waitrose yesterday. The only things I get in Waitrose normally really are lottery tickets and cat food occasionally, because everything else is just far too pricey. But I think by and large the beer selection is pretty good. There's a fair selection. My Waitrose isn't that big, to be fair, and also reasonable pricing, because they can't. You know what I mean? They've got to go against other supermarkets. You know, with the food, it's like, oh, this is like the best, whatever I don't even know what their best food range is. Do you know what I mean? Like, pay £5 for a quiche because it's the best quiche or whatever. Do you know what I mean? They've got to be charging £3.50 a can because everybody else's. You can't variate that quality. You can't say this is a better beer, because you've kind of got to stock all the supermarket staples. I'm not saying these are supermarket staples, because I haven't actually seen these three in any other supermarkets. Do let me know in the comments if you have. We'll get on to the other two in a minute. I'm fair certain this one has been, maybe. I don't know. Was that in Tesco's? I know I got a couple of their fruit sours from Vault City going into Tesco's. I do find that some of the pale ales and some of the slightly more gimmicky beers maybe have been in your Tesco's and your Morrison's and your Sainsbury's previously, and then after a while, whatever, I don't know, whatever their commercial thing is, whatever their contract is, but you do get a lot of beers popping up in Waitrose that have previously been in other supermarkets, or maybe that's just my opinion. I do go in Morrison's a lot, mainly because it's just up the end of the road here. It's actually probably the closest of my supermarkets, apart from it's probably a fairly small Aldi up the road, but I've not been impressed with their beers for a long time. My Sainsbury's, and there is an Asda up the road, but it's terrible for beer. So if I want Asda beers, I have to go down Big Sainsbury's, which is a couple of miles away. So I don't get down there that often. And there is a couple of beers in Sainsbury's I want to, in Aldi, in Asda, I want to pick up. I want to pick up that Gritchy Brewing one. Not fussed on Disco King. I was watching Luke's stream earlier with Brad Evans talking about Disco King, and he had that Gritchy one. So I've got to wander down to Asda as soon as I can find the time. Excuse me, a little bit of air sticking out, really annoying me. So I'm going to put my hat back on, even though it's a little bit too warm for hat today. But I've got a nice cold beer to cool down. So yeah, I don't know about anybody else's Waitrose, but my Waitrose, I would say, isn't too bad. It's not huge. But it's got a cannot remember. I'll put a little video. I went. Oh, here we go. There we go. So it doesn't take long because it's not a particularly here we go. Let's start that again, shall we? So yeah, it's me outside Waitrose. Jagman, thanks for popping in. Good evening to you. Yeah, so not a massive Waitrose, but this is the beer selection as of this evening. Starts off walking around the corner. You've got all your kind of regional brewer stuff that you'd expect to see in there. Kind of your 4-packs. Stuff that is all right. It's good, fairly good shelf staples and stuff you'd kind of expect to see in the Guinness on the top left there as well. And then, like I say, your regional stuff, your Fullers, that gack in the middle, Good lineup of fillers, to be fair. London Porter, Honeydew, all good. ESB, all good. And as I think David Wilson pointed out, there was that was not. That's at 11:45. Never read that one actually. I should probably go and have a look. And then there's a good selection there of the Badger beers. I don't mind Badger beers, especially that kind of fruity one. Then I like to see Marlow Rebellion, which I could actually get delivered down here because it's in that I'm kind of within range of Marlow, and I do like some of their beers. I've not quite got around to it. And then some more other regional stuff. Woodford's Wherry sitting there, alongside Oakham's Oakham Citrus, sorry. In there, and then some Theakston's there. This one caught my eye. This was a really strange one. I don't remember hearing about that one. Alongside the Old Peculiar there, it is by Theakston's, and I'm very tempted to wander back up at some point. Not that I need more beers in the stash. More about that later. That's the one, David. Yeah, 1845. That's the numbers. Yeah, so the Hairy Bikers one. This is a hoppy ale, so not really going to be my thing, but I do kind of. Maybe, I don't know why, just for the hell of it, because obviously Biker passed away recently. Followed up by some good Belgium stuff, some fairly obviously good Belgium, bit of Duvel, and the Franciscana and the Erdinger there. Fairly safe. I'm not too bothered about. Then we come on at the craft stuff. Only 4 shelves, not too bad. Good to see. 2 tribes in there on the left-hand side. I featured them once or two. Toast have had that little rebrand. I haven't talked about rebranding a Toast yet. I'm not sure that I will. I'm not. Again, they're just kind of fairly easy, fairly safe. Nothing particularly special. Wild beer, good to see them back. Like a bit of Pogo. I'm not sure about that one. I don't think I've had that one. Then we ignore those ones there because I'm not really that blended. Always good in there. Keller Pills in there. The Hellers is a good beer. Want to Go to the Sun was one of my Beer of the Year nominations on the end there. Followed by this one that I'll come on to a little bit later. There's the Rhubarb and a Custard. Good to see Broken Dream in 440 cans. I didn't know that was in supermarkets. Mad Squirrel as well. Kind of Wiper and True pushing out a lot of vocation stuff. Not so much vocation and Northern Monk in Waitrose, it seems, but still love the Rhubarb and Custard beer from Vault City. And finally, in my local Waitrose, it's not a bad non-alcohol selection if you like that kind of thing. I don't mind Lucky Strike, and they've got the Erdinger non-alcohol. That's a tonic drink in there somewhere. I can't see it, and there's 3 shelves of it, so that's not too bad. To be fair, I think. What do you reckon? Is that a reasonable amount? Well, that's exactly what I was kind of saying. You're not wrong. Kind of skipped over that bit. I think you may or may not know my my thoughts on Beer Mongrel, as we call it. It's a good unfiltered IPA. Yeah, I haven't actually had that one. Do like Mad Squirrel. Again, they're kind of over my side of town. Nice mix. Yeah, not too bad. I thought it was all right. To be fair, I would say not massive, but yeah, pretty decent. Underrated was the word I was looking for Waitrose. Our Waitrose a little bit underrated. Or do they just not quite tick enough buttons? Oh, you're right there, Harvey Brown, about that. I missed the Sierra Nevada. I tend to overlook Sierra Nevada, as we all know. Shark will tell you. No doubt a good beer, just not really my kind of thing. But this is nice. This is a really nice. It's Rhubarb and Custard. You can tell I've smashed it down in bare 15 minutes. Fortunately, Waitrose just up the road. I would, not that I need any more, but I could easily pop back up, pick another couple of those ones. It's like, it's a starter for me. It's a starter beer. I always kind of start on the sours because I'm not mad keen on them. But every now and again, you find a good one. Decent palate cleanser, good star, or could put it through on a mid-sesh kind of beer, just like say palate cleanse. Love the lacing on that. Love the colour of the beer. Cheers. Well, that's the first one down. If I remember, after the event, somewhere in the corner, I'm not sure it's that corner or that corner, I'll put up a link to the other Waitrose video that I did, the reduced price one. Like I say, love this yellow sticker discounts. I always find that the food in Waitrose, the yellow sticker discounts, brings it down to the level of the price of most other supermarkets' normal prices. So I don't really shop for food in Waitrose. Joey, good evening. Good evening, sir. She's all talking about UK supermarkets. Did you see the UK supermarkets whilst you was here? Anyway, so I'm going to go straight into the next beer. Like I say, you're going to smash these down fairly quickly. Yeah, that was basically the reason that I ended up doing Waitrose today. I was meant to do one yesterday and never quite got round to sorting anything out yesterday. And I say I was in Waitrose and I saw these 3 beers and they just kind of grabbed me. I'm like, I want to try them. So I thought, well, if I'm going to try them, I'm going to buy them, put them into the stash. And like all my other beers in the stash, I haven't shown you the video today. I haven't put this up as a bash, the stash show, because they've gone straight into the stash and straight out again, so that I don't sit them there for months and months and never quite get round to them. Unlike a lot of other of my beers, which is the whole point, for the most part, of getting these lives out now. Hoping to do another one tomorrow. More about that later. Beer Dad Reviews has done loads of the Vault City beers. Yeah, I don't get to see too much of Beer Dad's reviews. The algorithm doesn't throw that content up enough. I am subscribed, I believe. Vocation gin thing. Lots of juniper and crisp on the palate. I must have missed that one. I have to go back and look at it. I do like the juniper and the whole gin concept. I cannot stand gin and tonic, mostly because I don't like tonic water. So this one is a Botanicalist, a gin and tonic IPA, coming in at a very reasonable 6%. Now, I have actually had this beer before. Again, one of the ones if I actually flash up on the screen. I had a little 330 can of this earlier this year in one of those blasted Beer 52 boxes that I think that was the one I didn't cancel because it was from Yorkshire. So it was a Yorkshire box of beers. And I don't mind Yorkshire. So, right, sorry. Yeah, no, not Vocation. That's what confused me. This is Magic Rock. Kind of just down the road from a Vocation in Magic Rock, Huddersfield, aren't they, I believe? So it's a collab with Masons of Yorkshire. That's I think the gin company, Yorkshire Gin. Who knew that was a thing, by the way? Yeah, so that's Magic Rock. Oh, I tell you what I haven't done. I forgot to do on the last one. Beer number 1, please. Vault City Rhubarb and Custard. Beer number 2, please, is Magic Rock Brewing and Mason's Botanicalist 6% gin and tonic IPA. Little palate cleanse in the corner whilst I work that one out. Fair play, yeah. Cheers, Harvey. Thank you very much. Water for the palate cleanse. I don't see that many gin and tonic beers or gin kind of beers with the gin, but for fuck's sake. That's the microphone gone for Burton. Me and my clumsy hands. Hopefully you can still hear me. Haven't broken it. Yeah, I remember when I got that box for Raggy, the old Lincoln Green done a beer called Gin and Beer It, which was kind of funny. There's one or two others, not too many, but yeah, this one coming out of Magic Rock in Huddersfield. Nice, crisp and clean. Good carbonation racing up the glass there. Fuller's Discovery glass, having just talked about Fuller's on the shelves of Waitrose. Let's have a little sniff. Yeah, crisp and clean is the aroma on a really good pale ale, maybe IPA. Nothing too much on the hoppiness, nothing too much on the grapefruit. Cheers, it's gin o'clock, it seems. Oh, as we see here, beer o'clock. Oh, that's really dry. I don't say that too often about beers, but it's got that kind of drying, not quite cloying, but slightly drying note. Really, really crisp and dry on the finish. It's got that slight kind of, I often get a little, not confused, but there's a certain overlap between gin and tonic kind of flavors and the bergamot kind of flavors of tea beers. Like I did last month, actually, with the Earl Grey IPA from Marble with on the first live stream with Mr. B, Brambles Battering Breweries. And it's got that kind of really crisp note. I don't dislike it. It's kind of verging on that too much IPA kind of note. Thank you, Dave Wilson. A one-man photograph reminder. Don't mind who it is, as long as somebody does it. The reason I'm doing this, by the way, if you're not watched before, I keep disappearing over here, is to get the old social media photograph so I can put it up on Instagram tomorrow. It gives me a bit of content to do tomorrow, because it's not just all about the YouTube. I quite like doing the old written reviews on the Instagram, because, as I keep saying, these things amuse me, I guess. There you go. That's come out quite nice and shiny, I think. How about that? We're all right with that? That's come out really kind of a darker orange on the camera. Not a problem. Again, on this side of the light, it's a kind of dark, kind of golden colour. On your side, on my reflection on the screen, it looks much more kind of orangey. Not getting any orange notes on it. There's a kind of not quite grapefruit, not quite citrus. Kind of no, it's quite nice. I would use the term challenging. It's got a lot of like grapefruit IPAs. I often say have this kind of not dirt but earthy kind of dirt sort of taste on my palate. So I don't like grapefruit. So I don't like those kind of grapefruity IPAs. I much prefer the lemon and to a certain extent the orange side of citrus plus the others. That's nice, but it is challenging. Very, very dry on the finish. Let's have a look, see what Magic Rock say about it. Botanicalist Gin and Tonic IPA, combining modern Yorkshire brewing techniques. I don't know why it's Yorkshire, it's just general brewing techniques. Much the same techniques that happen across the rest of the country. I don't think there's any specific techniques happening in Yorkshire, particularly. Combining modern Yorkshire brewing techniques with no compromise distilling. That's the gin side of it. Can't argue with that. I've no idea about gin, to be fair. Botanicalist fuses a secret mix of 8 botanicals with a clean and crisp IPA recipe to deliver a refreshingly complex beer filled with citrus notes, pine, zest, and a trace of sweet bitterness. Proper Yorkshire goodness, it says here. I can't argue with that, to be fair. Brewing and canned in the UK. Gives the ingredients not in English first, particularly. Yeah, Willow Lane, Huddersfield. Yeah, can't find. I think it declines to say what those botanicals are. Oh, don't quite know how long this has been in Waitrose. Like I said, I've not seen anybody else much talk about it, to be fair, on the old reviewing side of things. 21st of the 3rd, 25 it says. So it's, fairly recent in the last couple of months. You imagine it's possibly got a year on it. Although with all those botanicals, I don't know. Guile 3,843. Well, that's shows you how long Magic Rock have been knocking around. I believe we're allowed to talk about Magic Rock again. Are they independent? I'm not quite sure who owns them. They were owned by somebody who had some dubious reputation. Talking at Yorkshire is everybody's favourite non-Yorkshireman, Luke John. Thanks for popping in. Good to see you, sir. And definitely. And just by the way, I'm not against Yorkshire, as I've been saying, and I think Luke knows this. I'm a big fan of Yorkshire, especially Yorkshire beers. I think certainly during the lockdown period, maybe not so much now. Yorkshire was probably one of the biggest. It's one of the biggest areas in the country anyway, geographically. But by geographic region, Yorkshire was probably just in front of Scotland and the northeast of the sheer amount of beers I was kind of ordering. Lot of breweries in Yorkshire to choose from, to be fair. If not with mushy peas and vinegar, it's not authentic Yorkshire. Well, I'm glad this ain't made with mushy peas and vinegar. Although I do like them, to be fair. It's a good combination. But yeah, this is kind of from the opposite end of Yorkshire to Luke. Luke is far up in the frozen north wastelands of Yorkshire. Yeah, that I don't dislike the beer. It's good, clean, crisp, fairly drinkable beer. It's kind of challenging, like I say. It's got that kind of pithy, kind of grapefruit pithy note going on. I see, that's why I've got Yorkshire sensibilities or Northern sensibilities. I love a bit of gravy, fine with mushy peas, and I'm perfectly fine with sparklers on hand pumps. Cat amongst the pigeons. Right, let's have a little look, actually, shall we? See if I can find the poll. Thanks to anybody who's done the poll. It's just for pure amusement. There's no right and wrong answers. How am I going to do this? Whoops, apologies. We got a fair even spread there currently. I'm seeing it's as the 29%, Tesco 29%, Morrison's 29%, and poor old Waitrose bringing up the rear. That's hardly surprising, to be fair. Like I say, I think Waitrose is kind of a little bit underrepresented. Certainly, I don't necessarily think Waitrose are the best. They're the best for me because they're only down the road. It's literally a 5-minute walk. So the closest for good beer for me kind of gets my vote in a way. Obviously, not everybody has got a Waitrose. Obviously, around here in the northwest London suburbs, I'm fairly lucky for supermarkets, and not really too far to go for the most part. Tell you what I haven't set up the next bit I was going to talk about. Never mind. We'll just do that as we go. That'll take a while. We'll set that off and we'll work it out as we go. Might even come up straight away if I've done it right. No. Mason's gin is great. Yeah, I know nothing about Mason's. I don't know nothing about gin. I don't drink gin because I don't like tonic water. Although I suppose I should try that gin and lemonade. Gin and orange. I think we used to drink back in the day. Once we got bored of vodka and orange. No, this is one we don't get. That's a really good shout. I always forget about booths because we haven't got any around here. Never been to a booths. If and when I ever get back to knocking around up north, then that's definitely one to check out. I think there's one in Preston, and I've been to Preston. I've got a mate in Preston, so I might, Simo as well as Simo. Yeah, got to check out booths. Every time I hear people talk about booths, though, all I hear is boots. I'm like, nah, that's the chemist. I can't see them stocking beer. Maybe Guinness for medicinal purposes. All beers for medicinal purposes. What am I saying? But I still can't see boots stocking it. But booths, yeah. Because it's cold, it's going down pretty well. But it has got that kind of... There's a late development and some marmalade notes to it. But a non-specific kind of marmalade. I've never seen grapefruit marmalade. Maybe that's what it is. Maygill's Farms are also great. Fair play. Another one. Yeah, I've never really heard, to be fair. Again, I'm taking down the glass and some fairly good lacing on the glass. It's been in my fridge for 24 hours, I suppose, really. So a lot of people always say about supermarket shelves and being ambient temperatures. I always think they're pretty cool, to be fair. They certainly are to the touch when they come off the shelves. They're certainly not sitting there warm. And there's an ongoing argument as to whether, beer sitting at ambient temperature and then cooling it down does any damage to the beer. I'm not seeing much evidence of that, to be fair here. Lost Robot will be at small bottle shop as a cracking range of beers, free delivery on 60 quid and next day delivery. Fair play. I've heard of Lost Robot, never even got around to looking at them actually, mainly because I've just default to Trembling Madness as a bottle shop. To be fair, that's another discussion point, isn't it? Best bottle shop. I'm not going to go down that road because I don't need to order any more beer at the current time. Thinking of doing a live tomorrow night as well. I was going to do Tuesday and Thursday, but I think I'm doing one tomorrow night to sign off Mild May. Did it at the start of the month with those boxcar milds, the 5 boxcar mild set. I've got 3 other milds. A couple has been sitting in the stash. Well, one's the marble mild that come in the other month. One that's been sitting there a while, and I picked one up on Friday last weekend. So I've got 3 miles to do. So I'm generally planning to crack on to those tomorrow to have a look at miles. If anybody's got any miles and wants to pop in for a drink, do let me know. We'll have a little mild session. Disco goes a mild in May. I picked them up. I picked up a mild, really nice looking one actually. All 500ml bottles as well. But you have to think miles slightly lesser on the ABV, so a 500ml bottle, not a problem. Be interesting trying to get through them. I always try and keep these to an hour, but doesn't always work. Yeah, the reason I talk about that is because also the reason for the reason for wearing this t-shirt, if I can find it. Oh, gosh. Yeah, I realise I've just completely frozen up because I'm trying to find something. Right, yeah, so as I was saying, it's like it's like some kind of mind reader, Lou John, although you're probably aware from the t-shirt. Tomorrow night could be creative juices. There will be, well, there won't be some creative juices going on, but yeah, the t-shirt is from Creative Juices up at Rickmansworth, because I popped up there on, like I say, last Friday. Kind of a little bit social and a little bit of work-based kind of, not quite industrial espionage, but yeah, we went up there to as a little brewery trip. It's sad, I know. Look, it's not sad. I mean, it's fairly easy. Yeah, I went up to see Paul's beer reviews, who works up there, as probably you all know. Nice to catch up with Paul. Check out a couple of Creative Juices beers. Had a very good lager and some pale ale. The only complaint was it closes early at 8 o'clock, but apparently they may or may not be sorting it out over the summer, so I might pop up there again. Have a little bit longer beer. Some good guest beers on, as always. Yeah, picked up a mild from them. Again, from local company in Sarah, just north of Watford, called Paradigm. So I'm going to add that to the miles for tomorrow night. And rare that I blow my own trumpet, but whilst I was there, it's very picturesque up at Creative Juices. Couldn't help share this photograph, which I've got to be honest, I was quite pleased with. There's no filter to that. It's just a little bit of sunlight refracting through the pint. Just off my old phone that I've been taking pictures with tonight. So I was quite pleased with that. Put it on Instagram, but Instagram being Instagram, didn't really show more than about half a dozen people, it seems. But yeah, I really like that photograph, so that's just me. Thanks, gents. I mean, you know, that's yeah. I really liked it. Yeah, had a couple of decent beers, picked up a mild. So, well, all being well, if I put the stream up later, we'll crack onto that tomorrow. I don't know who else is live tomorrow night. But if anybody has a mild and wants to pop in for a pint, do let me know. We'll share some miles. I should have probably said to Rob, sure, he's got a couple of miles in. We could have had a little chat. Perivale logo is a P. Well, kind of. it's just the word Perivale. 80% might. No, I haven't got my hands on those ones yet. I will. I think I might do, because there's a few in the stash. I might do a over 10% stout night. Tartarus, still haven't got around to Tartarus. Going back to that, yeah, they did kind of suddenly take a dive and like get into a bit more mainstream. It doesn't work as good. Is that because they don't have to brew low ABV beers? I don't know. Yeah, they were smashing out the higher stuff, but then yeah, you have to wonder how sustainable. Did they not get into supermarkets at some point as well? Have I remembered that wrong? Oh, good stuff. Thank you very much. Yeah, half a dozen people did. Today was enough. Well, yeah, you know. Fortunately, I'm not at the brewery tomorrow, so I can have a little lay-in and a bit of a rest and come back stronger. I am, however, up Friday, so doing some miles tomorrow night is probably a good idea, rather than certainly won't be doing the higher ABV stuff tomorrow night, because yeah, back at the brewery on Friday, and in fact all weekend we got some we got events on Saturday, so it's going to be a big weekend of Perivale Brew. Whether I get any content out or not, don't know. We'll try. Mini Abaddon was okay, 8%, but not as good as the 18. I don't know. I think that's like hell of a compliment for a brewery that they're smashing out sub 10, 12, 15% beers, and it's the best thing that they do. Yeah, I never quite, because it was 18s and 10s and whatever. It's sort of, there's no need. I mean, there is every need, and I like it, but yeah, having accidentally accumulated the big stash, like I keep saying with the bash of stash shows, I've got to get the stash down. I've got to get it down to one shelf would be nice, especially before I start buying any more. But I just buy beers, and as I say, mainly it's like the disco beers. You know, I buy a couple of beers, and you've got to put a good order in, or there's like the last lot, I only bought 6 beers, you know, just to try and keep it down. And there's a couple more I could have bought, I suppose. But yeah, I have to try and keep it down these days. Alcohol-free beer. Fair play. Oh, when you go to Birmingham? Is that next month? I think Brothers will be okay, to be fair. I think that's a weekend he's looking forward to as much as Luke John and everybody else going. Have a good trip. Train beers. I don't think he means me. The Cobra tattoo. There's a punchline there somewhere. I can't think of it quick enough. My mouth is really dry now. It's kind of, yeah, it's got that kind of, it's not quite cloying. It's definitely kind of like that really dry finish, which a lot of people really like. I'm less than fussed on that kind of. That's what I find about grapefruit. It's kind of dry, really dry finish. I'm going to put some water across just to kind of. I'm not struggling with it. It's interesting. It's not a beer to smash, I don't think. It is a beer to more savour a little bit compared to the Vault City, which was cold and very, very easy drinking. Yeah, there's a little meet-up going on. Well, I think Brothers will be all right. It's his home turf. He'll do okay. Do like the lacing on that though. It's a good beer. It's nice. It's got that balance to it. I always talk about balance a lot, and there is a good balance between that kind of slightly grapefruit citrus, that kind of. It's not quite boozy enough to be gin necessarily, but it's that botanics about the botanicals in the background. I like it. Like I say, I had it before in the 330 can. I remember liking it, but not enough. And I never did a review of it because it was beer 52, and all I did was that for the video. I'll go up here somewhere if I remember to put the link up if you want to watch me talking about beer 52s. I got beer 52'd again this week. I just didn't do the content. What's the point? I got one in last month for a specific beer. I effectively paid 50 quid for a 330 can I wanted to drink. But to be fair, there was some other good stuff in there. So anyway, that's Botanical, 6% Gin and Tonic IPA by Magic Rock Brewing of Huddersfield. Cheers all. Oi, oi. Oh, sexy. Hey buddy, how you? Nice shirt. Yeah, really good. Yeah, no, I just give you a little mention. Obviously, with the shirt, it was too easy, wasn't it? Hopefully, doing. I'm going to show off again. Look. Yeah, hopefully doing that mild I picked up from you, the Paradigm one. Tomorrow night on a live pool with some other milds, just to finish off mild in May. And I might as well show off now. Paul's there. Took that photograph in your yard on Friday. I was rather pleased with that, if you don't mind me saying. Pretty much every photograph I think I've taken at Creative Juices has basically had the sun in the background and kind of just illuminated the beer. That was kind of towards, we got there a little bit late, so that was kind of like 7 o'clock, kind of sun was setting. But yeah, I was really pleased with that, so I'm going to show it off again. Why not? And the beer was good as well. Oh, loved it. Thank you very much. I'm very pleased to hear that. Yeah, pull off a little a little care package, I think they call it, don't they? Yeah, got this pair of our beers. Yeah, superb. Thanks a lot, Paul. Yeah, the oatmeal stout's a really good one. Yeah, nice thick, luscious oatmeal stout going on. Yeah, cheers, mate. Hopefully get back up to Creative Juices again soon. It's kind of worth the trip. If you are in the area, it's a little bit out of the way, but if you can get there, it is worth going. There's some good beers, and like I say, especially in that kind of weather, worth outside. It's not far from me, so I will get up there again. Didn't get up there too much last year, but yeah, hope to get up there again over the summer. I feel a little affiliation with the place, not just the Paul working there, but it's a brewery on a kind of farm. I'm hesitant to say urban farm because it's a little bit out of the way, but it is inside the M25, so I think it counts as an urban farm, much like ourselves up at Perivale, which is just off the A40. So yeah, I do love a farm brewery. Let me know if you know of any others inside the M25 in London, because I can't actually think of any. I've had a little scout round on the old Google Maps. I don't actually know of any other breweries inside the M25 on a farm, apart from me and Creative Juices, where Paul is. So be interesting. There's a couple just outside, but I don't count. I'm afraid I'm going M25 because, you know, that's kind of urban to me. And, well, these things amuse me. Yeah, superb on heading to Brum. So, yeah, I'm out of beer, having finished that one. Let's put that up at the end. Now, a little palate cleanse, because there's two fairly distinct flavours, and I think running through these three little beers, as I say, picked up from Waitrose, these are probably the most interesting of that little selection that I showed you, because although they're not adjunct heavy as such, they kind of are, and they were the most interesting flavours, and these three all kind of jumped out at me off the shelf pretty much. I think I saw this one first from Lost and Grounded in Bristol. Also a collab, Caravan. I think they're the coffee roaster people. Not sure. Let's have a look on the back in a minute. Yeah, iced coffee pale ale, cold brewed. Now, I cannot stand iced coffee. I know it's a bit of a thing. It's trendy, and I'm not trendy in the slightest. That's why probably I don't like it. But I do like an iced coffee, or when it comes in a nice ice cold beer. So, again, it's one that you see occasionally, but generally you see coffee, especially cold brew coffee, in stouts and porters. This one is a pale ale, and I don't know if you can see that on the screen, but it is very, very pale pouring into the glass. My favourite turning point glass, of course, because I just like this shape of glass. I need to get some more, actually. But yeah, pours out much, much darker, once again, on camera because of light refraction. But much, much paler from me here behind the camera. Very dark there, but I guess that's where the coffee's coming through. Can you see the carbonation once again racing up the glass? Arguably a little bit strange in a coffee beer to see such heavy carbonation, but it's a pale ale. Oh dear. Let me bear with me a second. Thank you, David Wilson, once again, for reminding me about the old photo. So if you could bear chat amongst yourselves, I'll leave you with this comment. We need more girls in the chat. It's getting like a Navy sub around here. Aren't they allowed on? Girls allowed on Navy subs these days, aren't they? But yes, we've quite frankly, Joey, we need many more people in the chat of any denomination, to be honest. I will accept all comers, everybody, mostly because you're such nice people in the chat. Thank you very much indeed. Which reminds me, if you haven't done a poll already, just for fun, I put a poll up on YouTube. I can't see it here on StreamYard. But yeah, what's your favourite supermarket for craft beers? Well, beers in general, to be fair. I didn't put craft on the description, but that's just my bad. So yeah, excuse me whilst I just go off camera for a second. I know that's kind of not really meant to happen on these things, but I do it because I'm just over here with the camera, getting the old picture that I'll put up on the old Instagram tomorrow afternoon, just for a bit of content and a bit of fun, because I quite like doing the old Instagram stuff. There we go, that'll be the picture, I think. Again, yeah, it comes up quite dark on the camera, but in the naked eye it's much paler. Let me put down charge so I don't kill the internet whilst I'm getting and wandering around off camera. But yeah, so what do we think? Coffee pale ale. What do we think? What do we think that's going to be like? Coffee pale ale, what do you reckon? Oh dear, a little bit of burpage. Do you know what? I smashed that water just to get that taste. I smashed the water as quicker than I did the beer. So just to get that kind of slightly grapefruity. And do you know what? With the water, grapefruit taste is kind of amplified. And it's good to see you are all chatting away. Yeah, 7 votes. That sounds about right. And it's all fairly even with Waitrose lagging in behind. Yeah, no, that's fair. Like I say, coffee you generally see in stouts, I would say. And now I cleared the old nasal passages because it's getting that time of the evening where I get a bit clogged. Now, a thing I normally get, well, not normally, I often get with coffee beers with coffee, and especially the stouts, and even some of my favourite coffee beers, I've had this, and sometimes in kind of chocolate stouts, on the nose, I get this kind of vegetal kind of aroma. And I hesitate to say stale vegetables, like, or overboiled vegetables. Now, I'm kind of getting that now. Sometimes when I open a fermenter a couple of days after transfer, I get that it's just slightly on the turn. Now, I'm not saying that that's what's happening here. I just get that kind of aroma, that kind of over. I don't drink coffee off of like coffee grounds. I'm an instant kind of guy, but you know, when coffee is just kind of like just a little bit over the hill. Vegemite, yeah, I suppose Vegemite, Marmite kind of thing. I can't even remember if I've ever had Vegemite, let alone smelt it. But yeah, it's that kind of vegetal kind of thing going on. Getting more of a licorice vibe when I hear coffee pale. No, you see, licorice. Well, licorice I don't really like, so I don't really eat licorice. But there is a couple of beers I've had where that licorice thing going on. There's also a bit of a cigar kind of ash smoke thing going on. Maybe that's the roastiness of the coffee. It's getting better, actually. So as my nasal passage is clearing with the aroma. But anyway, let's get it down my neck. Start talking about sniffing. Yeah. Cheers. Coffee pale ale from Lost and Grounded. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I was kind of. It's the one I first noticed out of these three. They weren't quite all on a shelf together, but as I say from the film earlier, you can see they were nearby, and this one kind of stood out, mainly because it's a little bit different from Lost and Grounded's. It's got the Lost and Grounded logo there that's fairly obvious, but Lost and Grounded have some really I mean, that's much more abstract and funky kind of art from Lost and Grounded. They're normally, well, they have a particular style, don't they? Lost and Grounded, if you've seen any of their cans, well, I saw that in a video, they're kind of stylized, like countryside kind of shots, but in kind of pastel colours. This one's a bit more abstract, definitely a good bit of can art. We've described as an old school pub from the 90s. Well, I just about remember old school pubs in the 90s. Yeah, no, I was in pubs for most of the 90s of my kids. I was just doing bad maths there. Yeah, but this one is very subtle on the coffee. Comes through much later. But yeah, you see, when I think of old school pubs, you know, with that stale cigarette smoke or stale cigar smoke is what this is. And there's a couple of other coffee beers I've had where I've described it. I wouldn't be able to find which ones now back on the Instagram, but it tastes like an old leather armchair. Does that make sense? As a beer reviewer, can you say something tastes like an old leather armchair? Not that any of us have ever liquidized an old leather armchair, but you've got that kind of leather sheen, leather kind of polished leather smell, and kind of, yeah, bouncing off the taste buds. It's kind of thin. It's got a slight hop note to it as well, which hops and coffee I don't want. I'm not really sure about it. It's not bad. It's certainly not off, like I was talking about the aroma being, but it's interesting. It's kind of the opposite end of this one. This one I could actually pick out what that odd kind of flavour note was. Again, it's challenging. I don't know if I like it. It's not strong on the coffee. It's very, very subtle for me anyway. It's very subtle on the coffee. I don't know how long it's been in Waitrose, so I don't go there very often. Has anybody seen this one else, tried this one? Don't know. Yeah, it's kind of odd. I don't know. See, this is the thing. I think my description is wishy-washy. It's not that it's not quite wishy-washy, and it's not even quite not here or there. You know what I mean? It's like there's definitely an IPA note to it, very similar kind of to that, to the gin and tonic one. It's got that kind of. It's definitely not unbalanced because all of the different flavor profiles come through in different waves. It starts off with a slightly hoppy pale ale, but not too hoppy, not too grapefruit. I say it's got that kind of old leather aroma and coffee grinds and slight coffee aroma, and then that comes through as well in the taste, but a little bit later. I guess that's where the bitter is, like bitter coffee you get there. But it's not really coffee bitterness. It's more the grapefruit bitterness. Not a taste I'd want. Yeah, I mean, it's not a taste you see very much. Like I say, coffee, because it goes well against, like Paul was talking about, he had that oatmeal pale that we give him from Caravan. I always used to say that was like 2 chocolate muffins and a coffee, but this iteration, the flavour profile changed slightly, and it's more like 2 coffee muffins and a hot chocolate. So if I have it, I like coffee in a beer. It's normally going to be in a stout. I have had a couple of good coffee pales. I think McColl's up your way, Luke, did a coffee pale, if I remember rightly. And I had that and I really liked it because it was a distinct coffee note that overrid, I don't know, the hop note. So I want to taste the coffee. With this one, the coffee is kind of late. It helps with the aroma. The aroma helps with the coffee. Breathing in when you taste a gulp, oddly, helps with the coffee flavour. So yeah, it's a taste. I don't I want in a pale, but I want it to be actually coffee, not a bit hoppy. So I'm kind of confused by it. I'm not against it. Hey, another Paul popping in, PA Brew News. Welcome along. Why am I holding that up? I meant to hold that up and go cheers. I'm easily confused, especially by visitations from the US of A. Cheers. Thanks for popping in. Cheers, everyone. This is a good point. Bitterness from coffee comes from over roasting, which would give it a deeper contrast to the grapefruit. Okay, yeah. So, but then a lot of people, again, this is like a palate split. Some people will like the coffee bitterness and want more bitterness. Sometimes that bitterness is that kind of cacao nib kind of bitterness, dark chocolate bitterness. Deeper contrast. Yeah, that's a good point. But there is, I don't know, coffee and grapefruit doesn't really sit easy to me. I tell you what, can you see what I'm going to say about reading the tasting notes? Why have they striped it out in purple? That's good, especially with my bad eyesight, you know what I mean? Produced Lost and Grounded with Caravan. Pale ale meets cold brew coffee. This beer showcases the red fruit and sweet citrus of delicious Rwanda. Topical. Sorry, where was I? Of delicious Rwandan natural processed coffee from our friends at Caravan Coffee Roasted. Pilsner and caramel notes. That's also an odd combination in a way. From the base, and American hops bring it all together perfectly. Well, I don't know about perfectly. It definitely brings it all together. 14th of the 1st, 2025 is the best before date, so I think that might have been in the supermarket a while, maybe. 4.4%, so definitely really sessionable. Definitely interesting, definitely challenging. I think I see coffee is another one where, much like wine, and I spent a month delivering wine back in the day, and you know, all the trainees were like, oh yeah, you get this like hop notes, you get these notes of like hedgehog and vertigo and, you know, sun-drenched honeydew blossom bumblebee farts or whatever. And we say it in beer because it is definitely there. And you get it in gin from the botanicals, I suppose. Like we're talking about that. But coffee to me is coffee. Not all this kind of notes of dark fruits and this, that, and the other, and certainly not grapefruit. Maybe it's just because I'm like Philistine. I don't know. I want my things to be things, except in beer where I love different adjuncts, etc. in beer. So I'm not really sure about it, to be honest. Coffee and grapefruit. I had a coffee style the other day from Big Hand Brewing called Lost Abbey. I did not enjoy that. Oh, sorry to hear that. Big Hand. I've had a beer from Big Hand, I believe. I can't remember what, but generally, I thought to be reasonably okay. But again, coffee stout is another one because you've got that coffee bitterness bouncing off the sweet malts, and it can be difficult. And again, I generally think none of these breweries are putting out bad beers. This is not a bad beer. It is well put together. Like I say, all those different notes kind of balancing out and bouncing off each other. It's just kind of not my thing. But you've got to try these things, isn't it? It's kind of, I guess Dave Wilson would agree with that. Like you try these things because you think they'll be all right, and if they're not, well, it's hit and miss. You take that gamble, I suppose. There are some beers are going to be guapped, so I don't buy them. You know, some beers like these, I'm like, I think all three of these are going to be all right, going to be interesting at least. For me, this one's winning. That one, head and shoulders, oddly above the other two. Just in personal flavour context. All three great beers with lots of interesting things to find. Could they have used an instant or filter coffee as the fresh roast seems to me that they've gone at it with? Well, I think basically they're assuming that, you know, using an artisan or whatever coffee roaster from the locality is good to promote local coffee company. Are they suggesting maybe, or even surreptitiously suggesting that, a local artisan coffee company is better? For me, it's not. I'm an instant coffee kind of guy. I just chuck it in and put some water and milk on it, to be honest. I'm not fussed on. I'm a bit naughty. Up the farm, we have, the bakery, Horse and the Loaf. They have a coffee machine, and they do all this like macchiato, Giberato, Liberace kind of coffee. And I'm like, yeah, sorry guys, I'm just not interested. Like, I haven't got the time for them to do all the thing with all that. I just got the instant sachets, you know what I mean, with the milk like in it. All I want to do is get to work, get a coffee on, drink it. I'm not bothered about all that, and certainly not iced coffee. So yeah, I'm not so fussed on. I call it posh coffee, I suppose. Iced coffee and a beer, especially a pale, with filter. Yeah, with a little water. See, filter coffee, I imagine doesn't have any particular flavour profile, so it doesn't have fruitiness in it. It's just coffee in it on the go. I don't drink coffee. I don't go out for coffee particularly. It's just a morning thing. Get a couple of coffees in me and work away until the afternoon, in which case afternoon tea, coffee mornings and afternoon tea for me. Cheers, David Wilson. Thank you. Interesting mix of beer. Yeah, I thought so. That's kind of why I did it. It was just a little inspirational moment yesterday evening when I was standing in. I always wander around Waitrose. Actually went in to cash some lottery tickets. Got another 20 quid's worth of scratch cards. Yay! I'm not loaded. But yeah, so I wander in there. And the main reason I do that is A, because it's close, and B, because the kiosk is kind of out of the way and usually fairly quiet if I go in at the right time. So I went at the right time yesterday, cashed me lottery tickets. But I always wander around, have a look at a beer, see what they've got, see if they got something new and interesting, especially on the craft shelf. And these three I've not seen before. And I thought, yeah, there's something different in all of them. Maybe not so much the Vault C. That's a bit more, I suppose, mainstream. But I thought it'd be something interesting to drink. I'll have something to chat about at least. I don't know if anybody else. I could say I haven't seen anybody else talk or even about the Rhubarb and Custard one. I haven't seen anybody review it. And rather than getting them sitting in my stash, I thought I'd just get it straight out and alive. Love a bit of alliteration. Waitrose Wednesdays. So that's where we're at, to be fair. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the chat. I certainly enjoyed you guys coming in and joining in. And thanks for taking part in the poll. I'm going to have a look at that in a minute. Just take this comment here from Luke John. I suppose the question is, does coffee belong in a pale ale? That is a very good question. To me, the style of pale ale is now used as a gimmick, where once it was, yeah, it kind of does in a way, but I embrace it. I don't mind a coffee pale ale. I'm not going to say, it shouldn't go together, because there isn't anything that shouldn't go together, really. I tell you what, that aroma lingers. It's becoming more cold brew coffee as an aroma, to be fair. Not many reviewers do sours. I think a lot of reviewers do sours, but don't get the whole modern sour beer thing and what a kettle sour is. I assume it's a kettle sour. Trying to talk from authority, having recently made a couple of kettle sour, or helped make a couple of kettle sours. Right, let's have a quick look. Don't actually know how to show this, to be fair, because it's over on the YouTube. But let's have a look. Favourite UK supermarket. It is. I haven't voted yet. I don't even know if I can. 8 votes, pretty much tied. As the Tesco, Morrison's, and Waitrose. Well, thank you very much indeed. That's incredibly inconclusive. So let's end that there. Thanks everybody who's voted. If you're watching this after the event, please do put your comments in the comments box. And look out for the end of show boxes and click the links and go and watch some other stuff. Do the likey and subscribe if you haven't already. I know all the guys have been commenting, have done, and that's why they keep coming back for chats. And if you've got any suggestions of beers you want me to try, if you see any other interesting stuff, do let me know. Until then, I will be back hopefully tomorrow with some mild beers to sign off for the month of mild May, which is kind of a camera thing to try and get mild beers a little bit more mainstream. But thank you very much indeed for everybody who's commented, liked, subscribed, and if you're watching this after the event and still watching after the event, thank you very much indeed. Do the commenty, likey, subscribe thing. Happy damn Wednesday. Happy damn Waitrose Wednesday. Got something different. Another one planned for next Wednesday and something different again. So get your alliteration thinking caps on and do join me for a beer, whatever they contain. And above all, as I always say, if StreamYard would work a bit quicker, that'd be nice. That's not what I always say, but that's what I say tonight. Yeah, if I'd put it on there, Audi would have won. But yeah, thank you very much indeed, everybody. Have a good evening. Have a good day tomorrow, and maybe see you for the next one. Oh no, tell you what I didn't do. Damn. Too late now. I'll get the hang of this eventually. We're only 8 new live shows in. I'll get the hang of it eventually. Anyway, where we are. Right, yes. Cheers. Enough of me waffling on. Enjoy the beers, whatever they contain. Thank you very much indeed. Have a good one, everybody. Cue the end titles.